YouTube isn't only the number one video platform in the world, I consider it the world's number one cloning machine.
Anytime you can add another sense, right, so that you can fully, embrace those kinds of things, you will remember it better. So it is more sticky.
If you've made it this far in the interview and you're a business owner and you don't have a YouTube channel, you should be kicking yourself right about now.
Hello, and welcome to the Liberty Spenders podcast. We are Kurt and Kristen Luthart, your hosts, co-founders of the Prosper Group, an agency that's helped raise over $500 million and help elect over 100 members of Congress, 15 governors, 15 U.S. senators, and 1 president. And now, in addition to helping political candidates get elected, we're helping your business get elected by answering this question. What if you could exponentially grow your business by tapping into a lucrative and engaged audience that we call Liberty Spenders? Now, Liberty Spenders make up 76.5 million people. They are politically conservative or Christian consumers, and they're looking to buy from businesses and brands that align with their values. If you want to learn more, you can get access to our new best-selling book at libertyspenders.com/free.
Our guest today is Andrew Murdoch. He is the founder of YT Era. He's a speaker and a coach. YT Era is a YouTube marketing solution built for financial advisors. And whether you want to be front and center on camera or never record a single video, Andrew's team helps you turn YouTube into a lead-generating asset that builds trust, authority, and results without breaking compliance. And we're pumped about having him on because as marketers, we understand the importance of YouTube. And a lot of brands don't really understand the size and the scope and the potential of YouTube, the world's second largest search engine. That's where a lot of eyeballs are and a great place to be. So while we're going to dig into it a little bit with Andrew on financial advisors, I think there's a lot to learn for anybody who really wants to master marketing on YouTube. So Andrew, awesome to have you.
Welcome.
Kurt and Kristen, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to get going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're coming to us from Costa Rica, which is awesome. And so I shared with this before we hit record that it just makes me feel happy. I can just pretend that I can feel the breeze. I'm just going to imagine that I'm there. So we're just really thrilled to have you.
Yeah, I am coming to you from beautiful Costa Rica, an area called Uvita. So I'm a big fan of living the pura vida lifestyle. I'm Canadian, but don't hold that against me. Left Canada a long time ago.
The 51st right. State, right?
Yes. Yeah, you're now in wonderful and beautiful Costa Rica. And I thought, let's start this episode before we get into YouTube, talking a little bit about your story. And I know one of the things you talk about is 2018 and how that was such a rough year for you. And you hit rock bottom, but it birthed what is now an amazing business. So, I love hearing people's stories of overcoming. And so even though it maybe sounds like a down place to start an interview, I think it's a victory story. So tell us how you got from 2018 to today.
Yeah, thank you, Kurt. Yeah, and that's a fair way to frame it up. But for me, my dark night of the soul, my rock bottom, whatever you want to call it, was 2018, and I found myself escaping from a toxic relationship. I was in a marriage that was very problematic, abusive, and all kinds of terrible things. It was one of those scenarios where I didn't ask for a divorce. I packed my things and I left. And I found myself sleeping on an air mattress, feeling like the world's biggest loser, swimming in debt, and didn't have exactly a lot of prospects, didn't have a lot of, reasons to pat myself on the back, and found myself laying on this air mattress, staring at the ceiling one evening. And I was currently in Vancouver, Canada at the time, one of the most expensive places in the world to live. And it's terrible. If you haven't been, I'm telling you, you're in for an unwelcome surprise if you ever had to go to Vancouver for any reason. But I thankfully, I did find myself working remotely for the very first time. This is pre-COVID, pre all of the craziness. And I found myself working remotely, and it dawned on me, why am I in one of the most expensive cities in the world if I can technically work from anywhere as long as I have an internet connection? So my story is unique that I can say that two things really helped me turn my entire life around when I was struggling and convinced I was the world's biggest loser. I realized that becoming a digital nomad, becoming location independent gave me a sense of control that I had lost. I felt like I was able to actually do something to improve the quality of my life. And then the second thing that helped me turn my entire life around was actually YouTube. And as cheesy as it may sound, just doesn't make it any less true that I believe YouTube saved my life, because I found myself binge watching content from very successful, very entrepreneurial, online entrepreneurs. I found myself binge watching multiple videos, and over time was able to fix fundamental pillars in my life. I was able to get my finances right. I was able to get my health and fitness right. But more importantly, I was able to fix this. I was able to fix my mindset because I wasn't speaking very kindly to myself. And it's only because these really successful entrepreneurs had the courage to hit the record button that I was able to turn my life around.
Yeah.
I love that. Do you want to give a shout out to any of them?
I would love to. He's not actually very active anymore, unfortunately, but because he, man, oh man, he helped a lot of people back in the day. But his name is Stephen James, and he has a YouTube channel called Project Life Mastery. And him and his wife and kids, they have their second kid on the way right now. They left Canada and retired to Panama, actually. So they're not far from me right now, but they're not as active as they once were. But a big shout out to Stephen James, because his YouTube content helped me get out of the worst patch of that I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
Well, I love hearing that too. And you would have had the Canadian connection. So that would have made it feel, I don't know, maybe more personal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do think it's a great story. And of course, great businesses come from, passion and being passionate about something. And when you can say, YouTube saved my life, or watching good content on YouTube saved my life, and then turn that into a business, that's where success comes, right? When you're doing something you love and you're passionate about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because business is hard. Entrepreneurship is hard. Not every day is a walk in the park, but yet you have to be motivated by something greater than just money. And I am motivated every day by helping financial advisors specifically, because we all know that money, it can be the root of many aspects of life. In fact, so I'm a member of Genius Network, and Joe Polish has this line that he repeats. Yeah, it's an amazing community. I highly recommend Genius Network to any entrepreneur, business owner out there. And he has this one line that he repeats a lot within that community. And it's, if you have enough money to solve a problem, you don't have a problem. So I am it's a fantastic line. I have a deep passion of helping financial experts, financial professionals get their services in front of many more people, because if that many more people were able to have a strong financial independent lifestyle, then, well, they wouldn't experience hardship in many areas of their lives, right? That's my concept.
Yeah.
Well, and we know why, you just explained, what helped you and your passion. You saw this value of YouTube, but what was that aha moment where you felt like, I'm going to take this passion and turn it into a business?
Yeah, great question. So I found myself getting into marketing, social media marketing at first. And I was able to cut my teeth working for an American tech startup company. And so I was responsible for all of their social media channels, including their YouTube channel. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I was able to produce incredible results for my employer from their YouTube channel none of the other, we could combine all of their social media platforms together, and that still paled in comparison to the results we were able to generate from YouTube. So that was my original aha moment. And then I went down the rabbit hole, and I ended up, that company ended up laying off 11 people, and I was one of those 11 people. So I had a decision to make. I went off and became a freelancer, a consultant, still in the marketing space. And then I still was able to generate a lot more results via YouTube. And there are very specific human behavior reasons behind that and technological reasons behind that. And then I realized, well, why am I not to piss off social media people, but why am I like wasting my time with social media when I'm continually getting incredible results on the world's #1 video platform? So that's when I decided to niche down and specialize in YouTube specifically. And I was a consultant for a couple of years. And then, another aha moment came when I realized that there is a big difference between strategy and execution. And the truth is, oh man, I get like, if I had a dime, you cannot have a successful YouTube program without both. You need both. If you have an amazing strategy and a shit execution, I'm sorry, but you ain't going to achieve the results that you're after. And the same is true if you flip that, if you flip the script. You really do need both. And so that's when I decided to launch YT Era, because now we offer strategy and execution. Nothing against YouTube coaches and YouTube consultants. I'm still a YouTube coach. But at the end of the day, if someone's going to hire me to tell them what to do and they don't actually do what I tell them to do, then they're not going to get the results they're after.
Starting a business is tough. And then maybe you because you did it in a certain measure of degree, maybe it felt linear. But my experience is never linear. So
No.
you start it, and then you have bad months, you have good months. What kept you going in those early months as you were building this, and as you continue to grow it today?
There definitely are tough moments. There's always going, whether it's maybe it's struggles with a client not doing what I asked them to do, or struggles with technology, or struggles with my team. And the thing that gets me out of bed every day is knowing that I'm leveraging the world's #1 video platform to help my clients' viewer. And that's where we found success. We found success because we obsess over our clients' viewer more than they do. Because the truth is, you're never going to have a successful content marketing program if you put your needs in front of your viewer's needs. The viewer has to come first. The only thing that I care about right now in this interview with both of you is adding value to your viewer and your listener, because that is the leading domino. And as long as we keep that as our North Star, you can't go wrong, because the accolades will come, the credibility will come, the case studies will come, the revenue will come. But if you lose focus and start putting your own needs in front of the viewer's needs, that's when a YouTube program will typically fall apart. Can we guarantee success and guarantee results for every single client that we work with? Absolutely not. That's illegal, unethical, and non-compliant. But we do have, because we've been in the game for so long and we've published so much content for our clients over the years, we've identified what works, but more importantly, we've identified what doesn't work. So as long as a client is able to work with us in a collaborative manner, then we have a very high degree of success. But yeah, not to overly repeat myself, but yeah, to get us through those tougher moments, it's the fact that we have a larger mission that we're focused on. And like our #1 core principle at YT Era is the viewer comes first, always. And as long as we keep that as our North Star, then everything else just tends to fall into place.
Well, and you touched on this when you said you've had enough, you've been doing this for long enough where you've had those lessons where you've learned. I hope I didn't get this wrong, but I think you shared it was something like over 2,000 videos that you guys have created for clients. Maybe I'm like lowballing that, but it's a lot of content. So I'm curious, right? 'Cause you've turned this now into a powerhouse for YouTube marketing. What's the one thing that you would feel like overall, I know you have a specialty, but that overall entrepreneurs would get wrong when they think about approaching YouTube marketing?
That stat is accurate. However, when you go to the website, right now, I think it shows we've published over 1,700 videos, only because substantiation is a thing. And sometimes the videos that we created are no longer public, right? So we we apply compliance to our own marketing because we have to. I mean, we're professionals. We're not going to mess around. We've physically created and published over 2,000 videos over the last 3.5 years. But on a substantiation, verifiable way, you're gonna see over 1,700. It's still a lot of content, and you don't get that many reps in without learning a few things along the way.
Right.
So,
right.
So what's the number one thing that most people get wrong with YouTube? I would actually say it's the thing that I've already shared. So I'm going to add a little bit extra color. It's putting their own needs in front of the viewers' needs. But then to add some additional context and color, YouTube is absolutely a long-term game. If you think, oh, we'll do this for a month, we'll do this for a couple of months, then if you are the business owner, the expert, the professional listening to this episode right now, and you think you're just going to try YouTube for 2 or 3 months to see how it goes, then if I was your YouTube coach or consultant, I would actually advise you not even start. Don't even start. Unless you really want to commit to a multi-year program, then there wouldn't be, you would just waste your time, because I think you're either going to be all the way in, because if you're just going to put like 1 foot in and 1 foot out, then unfortunately you're probably not going to get the results that you're after. And then you're going to tell yourself, oh, YouTube doesn't work. I'm sorry. There's a lot of public facing data out there that will tell you you're wrong. YouTube absolutely does work. But you need to have all the right pieces in the right places in order to give it a fair shake, a fair shot. So it's that short-term thinking, that scarcity mindset that I think a lot of business owners fall prey to as well.
Well, that's wonderful advice. And by the way, tends to be true with most
Right.
marketing strategies, right? Where that is often a pitfall that we get into, because like you said, it's that scarcity mindset. There's fear. People don't want to commit. They want to try everything, which means they don't succeed at any of it. Because you do have to be willing to be patient and learn, right? Because you got to try something and iterate and figure out what works for you. So that's a great lesson. It's great advice.
It is. And although you're preaching to us, the two of us, you're preaching to the converted.
Mm-hmm.
But for our audience, there's a lot of places you could market, right? You could be doing stuff on the Meta platforms. You could be doing TikTok. You could be doing Instagram Reels, or spend a bunch of money on your website. I know you've said YouTube is like fishing where the fish are. Can you unpack that? What makes YouTube such a no-brainer? Why that over something else?
Yeah, so the data doesn't lie, and I don't want to bore the audience with all the statistics, but yeah, YouTube is the number one video platform in the world, number one streaming platform in the world, number one podcast platform in the world, and number 2 search engine. So fishing where the fish are, that's not just some random opinion I throw out there. That's a substantiated empirical fact that the number one video platform in the world controls more attention than anything else. And nothing against the other social media platforms, but again, I'm going to use financial education as an example, just because I know that space so well. When was the last time you or someone when was the last time you went to LinkedIn, you went to Facebook, you went to X, you went to any of these other platforms? When was the last time you or someone went to those platforms and typed in something like, how do I plan my retirement? When was the last time?
Yeah. I don't
do that.
No.
Nobody does it.
Maybe ChatGPT.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And absolutely. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, there's all these amazing LLMs out there. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but when you go to those LLMs and type in a search query like that, more and more frequently, it gives you an answer and then drives you to a YouTube video.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
It provides you a link to a YouTube video from an expert. It doesn't send them to a LinkedIn post. And yet there are more financial advisors out there using LinkedIn than there are financial advisors using YouTube. Crazy, in my opinion. Crazy, especially since all of these other platforms, the data is out there and is publicly available. With all of these other platforms, the average lifespan of an X post or a tweet, I think, is like 17 seconds. I don't have these metrics in front of me right now, so apologies for any misrepresentations. But the lifespan of a Facebook post, I think, is like 1.5 minutes. The lifespan post of a LinkedIn post is, I think, like 2.5 minutes. Whereas the average lifespan of a YouTube video, last I looked this up, was something around 22 days. Because YouTube content, when you release it, yes, it works right now, but there's an evergreen component. So a video you released a year ago or 2 years ago could potentially go viral. And I've seen it happen multiple times. And you didn't have to lift a finger to make that happen. Actually, a brilliant YouTube expert said it better than anyone else. I was at a YouTube marketing event and I heard this quote when he was on stage. He says, "Nobody goes to Google to see what's on Google today. Nobody does it."
Right.
But
Yeah.
on any given day, off the top of my head, on any given day, I think there's over 122 million active people in the United States alone on YouTube. Where name the device, smart TV, mobile, computer, doesn't matter. People will go to YouTube on a daily basis just to see what's on YouTube today. And if you're a financial advisor or a business owner or an entrepreneur, and you don't have a YouTube channel, which essentially is new TV. Some people call it new TV. Some people call it free university. I like to think of YouTube as the world's content resource library. And when you're in a YMYL space, like financial advisors, so YMYL stands for your money, your health. Your life. YMYL, your money, your life. And your life refers to your health. So financial advisors are in a highly regulated, highly compliant space, just like doctors or health practitioners. So they're defined as a YMYL. So if you're in a YMYL designated space, you want to think about your EAT score, which is EEAT. And no, you can't look up your own EAT score. You can't look up other people's EAT score, but you want to think about a marketing strategy, marketing execution program that's going to support your EAT score so that these LLMs and search engines will surface your content when your ideal prospect or client is looking for information, helpful, valuable information. Okay. So it's EEAT. The acronym is EEAT, stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And if your marketing program is able to support your EAT score, then you're more likely to appear in ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and all of these places where people are going to looking for help, looking for expertise. So because YouTube is the number one video platform, because there's so much authority and credibility associated with having a large, successful YouTube program where you're actually dominating the dialogue or the narrative in your space, these LLMs do put more weight behind YouTube content. And I mean, I'm curious, have you guys read the book called Atomic Habits by James Clear?
I've not, but I've heard of it. Yes.
I own it.
It
tells you how great I am. I bought it with the Express. I have not read it yet, though, so I clearly need to change the habit there.
You guys sound like me. Your to-read list keeps getting longer, never shorter, right? Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Kurt is a voracious reader. I am less so, but yes.
My to-read list is getting bad because of this podcast, because we interview a lot of authors. And then I feel like I need to read their books to give a good interview. And so I have a stack of books of, people who've been on the podcast. But
anyway.
But yes, Atomic Habits.
Yeah. So Atomic Habits, a really quick takeaway from that book, if you haven't read it, is that, and James Clear is a brilliant, brilliant author. He did a lot of interviews with all of these experts to get really clear on the idea of improving your daily rituals and habits, right? So that you can increase the chances of you achieving the goals that you're after. So he says in his book that there are 11 million sensory receptors in the human body. Did you know 10 million of those sensory receptors are dedicated to sight?
Oh, wow.
Huge.
No.
And some experts estimate that up to half of the brain's resources are dedicated to vision alone. We are a species that has evolved to lean a lot more on the visual sense than any of the other senses. And Edgar Dale was this incredible American education expert. And I believe it was back in 1946 when he rolled out this concept that he calls the learning pyramid, or the cone of learning, some people call it. You can Google this. There's an amazing graphic that shows, and this is incredible to me, that the traditional education system is actually primarily built off of having people read content. But did you know that the learning pyramid, or the cone of learning, shows us or proves to us that approximately 2 weeks after you've read something, you've only retained 10% of what you read. But as you move down the pyramid or the cone, you'll notice that you can 3x your retention if you've watched a video on the exact same subject. So, I mean, I know a lot of successful authors, and I constantly am talking to them about, hey, well, do you have a YouTube channel? And they're like, no, I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm like, oh, well, why wouldn't you have a YouTube channel? Because you could easily pull out sections of your book, turn those sections into a video, and people are going to see that you're referencing your book in the YouTube video. And then you're probably going to generate more book sales as well, because now they're going to want the whole book. But the point is, the actual specific topic that you're trying to convey to the viewer, the pupil, or the student, or the client, they're going to have much higher retention of who you are just because you deliver that content in video format. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out, because you're engaging with more human sensory input, right? So you're getting the whole thing. And this goes back to what we were saying earlier as well, comparing YouTube with the other social media platforms. Again, I'm not trying to piss off social media experts, but marketing is essentially applied psychology. So let's take our knowledge of human psychology, human behavior, and let's apply it to your marketing so that the retention goes up, so that people are more likely to remember who you are and what you represent and who you serve. Because unfortunately, human psychology, I mean, we've all heard the term before, doom scrolling, right? So when someone, let me ask you guys this question. When you're doom scrolling, what mental state are you in when you're doom scrolling?
Passive. I'll tell you that.
Passive. Yeah. You're not engaged. So if you see like a 35-second clip of someone on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or whatever, I don't care the platform, the person's mental state is they're not primed to receive information. But if you make an 8-minute video, a 35-minute video, or in your case, a longer podcast, people have spent long periods of time with you. So now they're much more likely to click on the next video if they had a positive experience with you the last time, right? So this is why podcasting is so successful. This is why YouTube is the number one podcast platform in the world.
I love revisiting this because, we're such big believers in personal development, right? Self-development and working on that, especially with mindset. You touched on this earlier. And one thing I learned, we're big fans of Tony Robbins. And so we've been to a lot of those events, and understanding, there's so much that I can retain because it was an immersive experience. And so going to your point, anytime you can add another sense, right? So that you can fully, embrace those kinds of things, you will remember it better. So it is more sticky. So anytime you're trying to learn anything, I just really resonate. Everything you said, it's like common sense, but a lot of people don't think about it that way. Like you said, think about what you're trying to accomplish, and you're trying to have somebody remember who you are or remember the value that you added. It just really hits home.
So I'm getting excited. I'm more persuaded. We got to do this YouTube thing. So for somebody who says, okay, Andrew's got me, I now need to do that. What's the simplest way to get started on YouTube? What's the first thing somebody should do?
Awesome question. So I got to share this because it's a passion project of mine, and there's absolutely zero monetization strategy associated with this passion project. I'm in the middle of co-authoring a book right now that is specifically designed to serve incarcerated people. This past February, I went with a friend of mine to the Perryville Women's Penitentiary just outside of Phoenix, Arizona. And I was scared out of my mind. I didn't know if I could add any value to those women. And I for whatever reason, a number of years ago, I cultivated a habit that whenever a challenge or opportunity scares me, I have to say yes. It's a promise that I've made to myself. And a friend of mine goes to this prison with his wife every single week, and they do incredible work. And so, and we're driving to the prison, and his name is Elijah. And I'm like, dude, like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to say. Like I constantly get invited to speak at events and speak on podcasts, but I only speak about two things: being a digital nomad and YouTube marketing for financial advisors. How am I supposed to add value to these women? Right. And he kind of he laughed at me. He laughed at me and he says, "You'll figure it out."
Hey, business owners, did you know there's 76.5 million faith-based and conservative consumers that are looking to support brands that align with their values?
That's a $5 trillion opportunity, and if you're not tapping into it, you're leaving money on the table. Our new book, Liberty Spenders, is your ultimate guide to reaching this influential audience using conviction-driven marketing.
That's right. We break down real-world strategies that successful brands are using right now to connect with this audience authentically, build trust, and drive long-term business growth.
So if you're truly serious about standing out in today's crowded market, grab your copy today on Amazon or visit libertyspenders.com. And don't miss out on this revolutionary strategy called conviction-driven marketing.
So it was my turn to speak, and I finished, and there's this young woman sitting beside me named Aspen. And she says this in front of all of us. And there's like, I don't know, 30, 40 people in the room. I can't remember. And she says to me, I am serving an 8-year sentence and I'm 8 months away from being released. And you're the first person to get me excited to get out. She was scared to get out. She didn't know what she was going to do with her life.
Yeah.
And there, I felt like everyone started clapping and it turned into an emotional thing. And I will never forget that experience until the day I die, because I thought I had nothing to offer these women. And I couldn't have been more wrong, because in this situation, and I promise I'm going to come back to answer your question. This is the best way I can answer your question, because I think a lot of people overcomplicate things and they feel overwhelmed with YouTube marketing. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. So what I learned is that there's an extremely high percentage of felons who become entrepreneurs through necessity, because there's lots of industries out there that can't hire a felon for regulatory reasons. So because people got to eat. So they get out and they have to become an entrepreneur. Many of them, like I'm not saying 100%, but a high degree, much higher than the average percentage from the general population. And so when they become an entrepreneur, they have to learn how to market their business, to sell their product or sell their service. And I said, when you get out, all you need is a phone. All you need is a smartphone. And we live in a world where it's actually quite easy to get your hands on a smartphone these days. I mean, how many of us have like 2 or 3 old smartphones sitting in a drawer at home that we're not using anymore? And even if the phone is 5 years old, the camera and the microphone on that phone work just fine. In fact, people 10, 15 years ago would kill to have such great cameras and microphones. So I'm co-authoring this book right now that's teaching these people so that when they get out, all they need is a phone to create the content. And hell, you don't even need an internet plan. You can go to a coffee shop and upload the content for free.
Yeah.
Right.
So it depends. It's going to go back to what I just said not too long ago. It depends on who your viewer is, because that defines the kind of content you want to create. Now, I don't care if you're a barber or a hairstylist, you're a makeup artist, or you're in pet care, and why do I choose industries like that? Well, because I spent a lot of time thinking about the future, and I want to make sure this book that I'm writing for people in the prison system, I want to make sure that when they get out, they're choosing a field of work that's not likely to be disrupted by AI. Because it's not just about being in business and marketing your business. It's about doing it in such a way that it works today, next week, next month, next year, and beyond. Because the best marketing in the world works better with time, not worse with time. Like, for instance, like I don't know who's writing blogs anymore. 2017 called, they want their marketing strategy back, right? Like there's just certain things that just don't make sense anymore. And the world is changing rapidly. And that can be very scary for a business owner and an entrepreneur. So we don't need to overcomplicate it. There's a really great, I'm going to make another book recommendation. There's a really great book called They Ask, You Answer. They Ask, You Answer. If you pick up that book, you're the business owner, you're the professional, you're the entrepreneur. If you pick up that book and you design a YouTube content program answering specific questions that your ideal audience asks on a regular basis, you immediately are setting yourself up to be a credible authority in that space. The beautiful thing about YouTube is you get to demonstrate your expertise. So if I'm a barber, I can make videos of me cutting hair and doing like a really great fade, and this is my strategy, and da-da-da-da-da. That a YouTube channel gives you is that you actually have multiple ways to monetize that YouTube channel. It goes way beyond ads. When people watch your video, YouTube will serve ads, and then YouTube will split the revenue with you that the advertiser paid. But you can sell digital products. You can do affiliate marketing. You can do sponsored videos. You can do brand deals. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on and on. Something that I think a lot of business owners need to pay very close attention to is that a lot of these big successful creators, I laugh every time I have to tell this because it blows a lot of people away. A lot of these successful creators are now putting their YouTube channels into trusts. Why would they do that?
They have value.
Because a YouTube
right?
channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a YouTube channel is a valuable asset now.
Mm-hmm.
They're not putting their Facebook group into the trust. They're not putting their TikTok into the trust. They're not putting their LinkedIn profile into the trust. They're putting the YouTube channel into the trust because there are financial and strategic reasons and legal reasons to keep that business asset protected and safe. So business owners and entrepreneurs and financial advisors need to start thinking more critically about creating marketing assets that are true assets. And those assets need to be protected. So in my situation, I can have when I'm talking to a financial advisor, hey, grab a simple flip chart, set up your smartphone. We don't need to overcomplicate things, and do a lesson. Now, we need to be compliant. So it's just really important we follow certain rules. Like this isn't advice because this isn't a one-on-one conversation. So the financial advisor or maybe the health practitioner needs to double down on the fact that you're creating educational content. This is educational content. Use this for educational and informational purposes only, right? We have to do things in a legal and compliant way, and that's fine. But you could have a simple flip chart, or you could draw on your tablet, or you could do whatever you normally do in that one-on-one conversation with a client or a paying customer, but you could frame it as an educational asset that goes out there onto YouTube. And the thing that I like to talk about, and I know I'm ranting right now, but the thing that I like to talk about is YouTube isn't only the number one video platform in the world. I consider it the world's number one cloning machine. So right now, this interview that you guys are making, you are successfully cloning yourselves. And when this video goes live on a YouTube channel, it serves as your clone that works for you 24/7, 365. And it doesn't punch out. It doesn't take a vacation. It doesn't get sick, but it's out there growing your influence, growing your authority, growing your podcast 24/7, 365, never takes a day off. And the beautiful thing, you probably heard of the Pareto principle, the 80-20 principle. That's alive and well on YouTube as well, except if I'm being honest, I've been doing this a long time. If I'm being honest, it's not really 80-20 in YouTube. I find on YouTube, it's more like 95-5. You'll notice that 5% of your YouTube videos will generate 95% of your results. But the thing is, the way the principle works is you'll never know what 5% does that. So you just got to keep pumping out content on a regular basis. And then the cream will rise to the crop. And the very best top performing videos will build your influence, your credibility, and your authority. I threw a lot at you that time, but I get passionate about this.
No, that's really good. And I think it's really helpful for people to understand sort of the thought process behind that. And if you're really focusing on what your viewers want, mm-hmm. And, how do you figure that out? How do you figure out, okay, here's what viewers are asking. We work with a lot of Christian or conservative business people. I can think of a million topics that they're searching on, right? How would I hone that down? Or how would I choose what video to create if I'm, trying to be that viewer-centric that you're advising?
Great question, because I love that you asked that, Kurt, because there are multiple variables that will influence the success of your YouTube video. Multiple variables, but they're not all weighted the same. Some are more influential than others. And I'm going to give you a silly example right now. I'm giving you a silly example to overemphasize this concept, because for you, the viewer, you, the listener, if you leave this video or this episode with this one understanding, you are miles ahead anyone else that isn't familiar with this idea, this concept. The video topic is the single most important thing. And I'm going to give you a silly example. If my team gave you the world's best thumbnail, the world's best title, the world's best hook, but the video topic was about the O.J. Simpson trial, is that video going to perform well?
No.
It's a silly example. Because I picked an example that's no longer relevant. Nobody cares.
Right,
it's probably not going to perform very well. But if we pick a video topic that's trendy, that matters to people right now, but more specifically matters to your ideal viewer right now, you're halfway there. Now we just need a title and a thumbnail and a hook that supports the video topic, right? So your question is, how do I pick that video topic? There's multiple ways to do this, okay? And I teach my clients and customers this all the time. We're actually in the middle of designing an AI assistant that is going to answer this very specific pain point for financial advisors specifically. And I'm very excited about that. But one of the easiest things that I can teach you right now that anyone can do is get YouTube to tell you. So how do we do this? Go to YouTube on your computer and open up an incognito tab. So now Google did get into a little bit of trouble about this not too long ago, but the reason why we want to use an incognito tab is because we're trying to avoid your own search and watch history from influencing the search results. Okay. Incognito tab, go to YouTube, go to the search bar, and then type it. Now in my world, I work with financial advisors. So I'm going to give you a financial advisor type example, right? But this works for everybody. So I say, okay, Mr. Financial Advisor, let's say your next video you want to do on retirement, because a lot of them want to talk about retirement. So go to incognito, open up YouTube, go to the search bar and just type in retirement. That's it. You'll see an autocomplete. It's that drop down that everyone has seen a million times. You just didn't know what it was called, autocomplete. The same thing happens in Google, but we're looking at creating YouTube content. So let's use YouTube. You'll see an autocomplete and then it'll go, retirement in your 60s, how to plan, and all of these options will pop up. That's YouTube telling you exactly what people are clicking on, watching right now, and what people care about right now. And the beautiful thing about this is that it's free. This goes back to what I was saying a moment ago with this book that I'm designing for people who are currently incarcerated. When I told them that the world's #1 video platform in the world is free, all of their eyebrows ran up. They're like, what? Wait a sec. Like some of them have been inside for a while. Some of them don't even know what YouTube is. Okay. So when I tell them that the #1 video marketing option in the world is free to use, that got their attention. And I mean, now I'm kind of going all over the place, but I forgot to share it earlier and it's too important not to mention. Too important. There's certain unfair advantages. So now we know how to pick the video topic. There are certain unfair advantages about YouTube that the other platforms don't offer you. Did you know? Now, different sources have said different numbers, but based off of the research I've conducted, I learned that there are 57 million Spanish speakers in the United States. That makes the US the second largest Spanish speaking country in the world. Now, why does that matter? If a financial advisor has a service that could potentially serve multiple people speaking different languages, but they're an English speaker, when you publish a video in English, right now as we speak, YouTube is rolling out an auto dubbing feature, meaning YouTube will dub your voice in Spanish if YouTube has identified that the user is a Spanish speaker. This is a free feature. YouTube is spending millions. I don't know how, I don't work for YouTube. I don't know. They're spending millions and millions of dollars to make sure that your content is able to reach the most people possible. Now, this isn't going to be applicable to every business owner out there, but if you have a product or a service, and because AI is a wonderful tool, let's say you have an English book, you could use AI to repurpose that book in Spanish or other languages. Now you can monetize an English speaking audience and other languages because your videos are being dubbed in multiple other languages for free. But if you've made it this far in the interview and you're a business owner and you don't have a YouTube channel, you should be kicking yourself right about now.
Yeah. Well, doing such a good deep dive, you're answering some of my questions before I ask, but I think maybe I'll ask the opposite question. So what's something you've tried or you see other people doing on YouTube that you're surprised isn't working or just totally flops, or maybe there's a stereotype?
Oh, that's a good one.
You'd want to
don't do this.
Yeah,
like, you see everybody dancing.
No
and doing
more dollar
jig.
shave ads. What's your maybe I'll ask it this way.
Do we need to lead with those trending dances? And then right now.
What's your YouTube pet peeve from other that you see in marketing? Every time you see it, you want to call up the business and say, please let me save you.
Great question.
It's funny you should say that because I have that thought daily.
I bet.
No, I'm not even kidding. I have that thought daily where I'll see something and it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's like, oh, don't do that. So really great question. So I do have a specific example in mind, actually. So I've always achieved really great results for financial advisors for many years now. And I had this one financial services company client, and there's a lot of hype around creating storytelling content. And I was so eager
Right.
to really sink my teeth into some storytelling content where we actually created like an episodic experience of 5 or 6 videos where we actually put the viewer on a journey. And were they high performing videos? They were, but they didn't go, quote, viral like I anticipated. And that was a very, and I'm not saying storytelling content doesn't work. What I'm actually giving you as my answer is not paying attention to the data, not paying attention to the viewer. Because the beautiful thing about YouTube is that it's a public facing platform. So you could look at other YouTube channels and make really accurate assessments on how their content is performing, even though I don't have access to their YouTube Studio backend, their dashboard.
Right.
Because I can see how many views they're generating. Now, you can't always tell if those views are real or organic, because unfortunately people can buy views.
Right.
So, but if I go to a video that with 1 million views and there's 2 comments on the video, safe to say they bought those views. So when you're in the space, there are certain clues. Experts have ways of making guesses, but they're educated guesses. So not paying attention to the data. So when you try a new content format or style, and I will quantify this for you right now. If you try something new and you only do it once, you only do it one video, let's say it flops, and it's too early to give up on that test, right? You really want to, if you're trying a new concept, a new format or something, maybe it's a storytelling type format, you really want to give it a good effort, 4, 5, 6 videos. And if all that data is showing you this is performing below average, then you could say, okay, we tried it, let's move on. And in this specific situation, we tried it and it didn't work. It was a higher performer, but didn't perform as well as I expected, considering the investment of time, money, and energy that went into that series. So we couldn't justify still doing even more of it because we didn't produce the results that we anticipated. So I absolutely support experimentation on trying new formats and different content types on your YouTube channel. But look at the data. There's a lot of people that say, let's talk about thumbnails for a second. There's a lot of people that say, no, this is how I have to do my thumbnail because this is what I learned from the YouTube expert. This is what I learned in the online course. But they're not looking at their own data. And this is where a lot of people get into trouble with like an online course. I have an online course, but like when the content creator is creating an online course, you're sharing information in a very generalist type way because you're not having a one-on-one conversation with the client. Now, if someone wants me to take a look at their channel, I can give them customized advice. I can't provide customized advice in an online course or even in a YouTube video because by its nature, that medium is designed to go to a broader audience. So just blindly doing something because you learned it from an expert or an online course and not actually looking at your own KPIs, your own metrics, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and again and expecting a different result.
Yeah. Well, this has been illuminating about YouTube, and I think we're marketers, right? So we could probably talk about this for 30 minutes. We have our own YouTube channel where we host our podcast, so I'd love to pick your brain. But I do think we're getting close to the end of our time, so I wanted to do our lightning round. So here we go. We asked this 3 questions of everybody, about 90 seconds each for answers. First one is, what's the legacy you're looking to leave behind from your work here, or maybe just from life in general?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the legacy I aim to leave is a legacy where I was the puppet master, but no one knew the influence that me and my team had on the success of our clients. Because we literally get paid to put our client in the spotlight. And it's our ability to be those puppet masters. So let me put it to you this way. There are certain foundational problems or challenges that every business owner faces. And perhaps the biggest challenge of all is, how do we get your brand in front of the perfect prospect at the perfect time? That's a fundamental problem every business owner struggles with. Well, I've got great news for you, because the YouTube AI is obsessed over one thing and one thing alone, and it does this arguably better than anything else on the planet. It obsesses every second of every day. How do we put the perfect video in front of the perfect viewer at the perfect time? I don't know about you, but that sounds like a match made in heaven to me. So we obsess over that. And as long as our clients and customers have their content being put in front of the perfect viewer at the perfect time, that grows their business. But more importantly, the viewer turns into a customer, and then the customer gets solutions to their pain points. Because we talked about it earlier. I think about where I was in 2018 every single day. And I know there's other people out there right now. It's their 2018. It's their 2018 right now. And if they only knew of that business owner, if they only knew of that brand, if they only knew of that professional, then their entire lives could change, because that content could be the spark that inspires that viewer to make better decisions in their lives and completely turn their lives around, just like I did in 2018. So ironically, the legacy I want to leave is thousands, tens of thousands of people were able to completely change their lives around because they found the expert that they needed so desperately, and they don't even know I exist.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. And now for something completely different. 90 seconds on just anything that's caught your mind lately, just not YouTube related. So maybe it's a hobby you're into, a book that's really moved you, a spiritual insight. What's something that's really got you down the rabbit hole recently?
Yeah, great question. So I mentioned Genius Network not too long ago. I make a point of surrounding myself with exceptional people, including yourselves. And it's cliche to say this, but just because it's cliche doesn't mean it's any less true, that you are the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. And not too long ago, I was at one of these entrepreneurship type events, and we were at the dinner table, and everyone took turns sharing what they're grateful for. And I didn't plan on saying this. It just kind of came to me in the moment. And then I realized that I'm only here because of this thing. And it just randomly came to me. So I told that group of entrepreneurs that I'm only where I am currently in life. I've only achieved what I've achieved currently in life, and I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I'm going to keep going. I'm a driven type person. But if I look at all of my results and I'm critical about those results, I can attribute my results to 95% of those results to the people I surround myself with. But 95% of what I've achieved is directly to the people I spend time with, the masterminds, the networking, the events I attend, the events I speak on stages at, the podcasts that I speak on, everything. It's a fundamental truth that I live by now.
Well, we agree with that thought and mindset, and we've experienced that to be true ourselves. And so it's a great thing to be a reminder of, and a great thing to be grateful for.
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
if you're not around people who support you and inspire you to be better and challenge you and confront you with truth and love, that's the best way to live life.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. Well, there's no better way to end than permission for 90 seconds to do some gratuitous self-promotion. So let's pretend this was a 90-second long podcast and you had just 90 seconds to say who should be working with you and why. What would the answer to that be?
So if you're a financial services expert who has a passion to make a difference and make an impact in the marketplace, and you don't have a YouTube channel, or you do have a YouTube channel, or you don't want to make YouTube videos, or you do want to make YouTube videos, then I want to talk to you, because the data doesn't lie. There's plenty empirical evidence out there and substantiated statistics. There was a report released not too long ago showing a very scary statistic that has financial advisors worried. And that stat is this. This is a global report, not a US report. This is a global report. I don't want to be found guilty of sharing misinformation. But what this global report highlighted for us is that we are about to experience the largest transfer of wealth in all of human history. So between now and I believe the report says between now and the year 2048, we are going to experience a tremendous transfer of wealth. And I've seen different numbers in different places, but it's somewhere between $84 trillion and $124 trillion. Now, here's the stat that's got a lot of people talking and scared. They say 81% of the heirs receiving their inheritance will fire their parents' financial advisor within 1 to 2 years. And Gen X and millennials, they've been watching YouTube videos for the last 10 years. They've been conditioned to learn about money and learn about anything on YouTube. Free university, the world's content resource library. And there's another stat that I believe says they're expected to lose 106,000 financial advisors within the next 10 years because the average age of financial advisors is on the higher end, and they're retiring. They're part of this transfer of wealth, and the data doesn't lie. So if you don't have a marketing strategy that is designed to work today, next week, next month, next year, and beyond, and you're planning on being in business for at least 10 years, then you want to think about YouTube, whether you work with me or someone else. You want to include a YouTube strategy into that component. And if you want to reach out, I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. I find LinkedIn is probably one of the better, more mature places to interact with people. Call me crazy, but I don't want to talk to a cat or Blazer687. So if someone wants to send me a message, LinkedIn is a great place to connect. But my company is YT Era, so we're YTERA.com, and we love working with financial services.
Well, it's been great to have you on, Andrew. And not only is he great and easy to find on LinkedIn, but I bet you can find him on YouTube. So
it's funny that you should say that, because we're going to be launching a new YouTube channel this year for financial advisors, helping financial advisors market their business. We're going to be doing that right now. We don't actually have that because, and sometimes podcasters will ask me this, because we have a number of YouTube channels, but we haven't yet launched a YouTube channel for financial advisors because for the longest time we only offered high ticket. But now we're rolling out low ticket and mid ticket offers. And when we only offered high ticket, it didn't make sense to have a YouTube channel because people who want to pay for done for you services, they're typically very time strapped and they're not researching YouTube marketing on YouTube. And because I know who my buyer avatar is, we didn't have a YouTube channel for this, but we're changing that this year. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
The YouTube expert's going to have his own YouTube.
Yes.
Well, another one.
Another one dedicated to this. Yes.
Yeah. And so this has been great on YouTube, and maybe we'll have Andrew back and get even grittier into that. But it's been great to have you. For people who want to get in touch with Andrew, you can hit him up on www.yt4wealth.com.
Well, that's the AI solution that I'm building for advisors.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, well, cool. But you can also, it's ytera.com as well, correct? Mm-hmm. So
yeah, YT Era is the website, and then YT for Wealth is the AI for financial advisors.
Ooh, well,
awesome.
More than one cool thing to check out.
Well, I also want to thank you again, Andrew, for joining and for going beyond, again, your specific niche and really helping us. I know I got super re-energized to dig more into YouTube, and I know it's going to be valuable for anybody listening. So thank you so much. For those of you listening, we appreciate your time. If you found value in today's episode, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss anything in the future. And again, to learn more about Liberty Spenders, you can get access to our new book at libertyspenders.com/free. Until next time.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Liberty Spenders podcast. If you're a business owner, we hope today's conversation gave you valuable insights on how to grow your business.
If you enjoyed the show, do us a favor. Hit like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review. It really helps us reach more entrepreneurs and leaders like you who are ready to make an impact.
And write something flattering, because I read them all. Don't forget to grab your copy of Liberty Spenders too, available now on Amazon and at libertyspenders.com. It's packed with proven strategies to help you reach the 76.5 million consumers who are looking for brands that share their values.
We'll see you next time as we continue exploring how to grow your business with purpose and conviction.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode and the one after that.